Hello time travelers! I'm making a video to show you how to train any face to work in any model in AI image generation in Stable Diffusion. Here's some examples of images I generated. This one, that one, that one, that one. And here's some anime ones, like this one, that one, that one, that one, and that one. And I wanted to show you all the tricks that I figured out to get better results, but when I was editing the video, it was way too long, so I decided to split it into two parts. And this first part is how to get everything set up. And the next part will be, once you have it set up, how to train the model and test it and everything. If you haven't done these two things yet, you're going to install Stable Diffusion and all the requirements that it needs to run, like Python and Git and all that stuff first. I did a video on that. It'll be linked in the descriptor what's it's below. After that, you're going to watch the following video, learning how to generate images. You need to be comfortable with doing that. You know how to engineer prompts and how to find prompts and ideas off of Civet AI and other websites and all that stuff, because we're not going to spend any time on that in this video. Like I said in the previous videos, you need an NVIDIA GPU. And what I'm about to show you, you need at least 8 gigabytes of VRAM. If you don't know how much VRAM your model has, go into Google and type tech power up and then the model name right at the end. It has to be an NVIDIA GPU. I'm sorry. Those are the only ones with CUDA cores. And if you don't have one yet, like, check it out. The 3060 has an 8 gig variant and a 12 gig variant. That would be a really good one. It's cheaper than the other one. The next one up is a 3080 Ti. So if I put 3080 Ti in here, doesn't say it on here, but if you load the page, it says 12 gigabytes. Much more expensive card. Anyways, now we're going to be setting up your batch files that load Stable Diffusion. And this is something that's going to save you a lot of time and headache later. And I'm going to teach you a little bit how to use a command line, and it's something that I recommend you get more comfortable with. On your keyboard, you hit Windows button R, and then you've got your run box, and you just want 3 letters. C as in Charles, M as in Michael, D as in David. Hit Enter. You should already be familiar with where your Stable Diffusion is installed, and so you type cd space quote C:\\. For me, it's AI stuff. And I press tab to autocomplete / Stable Diffusion, and then Stable Diffusion again. That's where I have mine. Here's a trick. If this letter is different than this letter, you can type :/D. Oh, I'm doing it wrong. CD, like that. Boop. And now I'm in that folder. Now, I'm going to show you something. webui-user.bat. If I right-click this and hit More, if I'm on the dreaded Windows 11 or whatever that top option is, and then hit Edit. You see there's all kinds of stuff going on. This is your meat and potatoes that actually makes the thing run and set everything up for you. But then you got this webui-user.bat. Let me right-click that and hit Edit. You see I've got those parameters on there. Watch this. I need to make a copy of the webui-user.bat. Copy webui-user.bat space webui-vanilla.bat. And then type notepad webui-user.bat. And by default, it's going to look like this. Set command line args, basically, with blank. For the main model you're going to be testing your training on, you want it to say --xformers space --no-half. I'll have this linked in the descriptor what's it's below, so you can just copy paste it. And then hit Control-S to save it. Now you want notepad webui-vanilla.bat, and you want this one to have nothing after the equal sign. Basically your default. I'll show you why. The reason is you're going to train with those turned off, and you're going to test with those turned on. And sometimes Windows remembers variables. So this is how you set a variable. Set example equals hello time travelers, right? And I can type echo %. By the way, you don't have to do this. I'm just showing you what we're doing with those files. So I said echo and then the variable, and it displayed it. If I type set example and an equal sign and press enter, and to do echo example again, it'll be like, I don't know what you're talking about. And we want that. So that's why the webui vanilla has equal signs and nothing after it, because we want to clear that variable when we relaunch Stable Diffusion at a certain point later. Now we need to get our models and embeddings ready for testing. So you go into Models and then Stable Diffusion, and you can screen cap or pause it if you want to grab all these. But the main ones you need are V15 pruned. That's your Stable Diffusion version 1.5. If you don't know where to find it, I'll have it linked in the description, and you can watch the video about how to install Stable Diffusion I did. You really want realistic vision. I'm going to show you where to find it. It's also linked in the description, but civitai.com, realistic vision, press enter. And I'm going to right click these and hit tab to open in a new tab, because we also want this negative embedding, because it makes the outputs even better. There's a realistic vision model. When you download it, it goes in the Stable Diffusion Models Stable Diffusion folder. The negative embedding file, let me go up, goes in Stable Diffusion Embeddings. By the way, this is also where the trained models are going to be when you're done. You can see I have it right here, realistic negative embedding.pt. And I'm showing all extensions on my files, and I did go over how to set that up in Windows in my first video about how to install. And it's important so you can see what the files are. Like, is it a safe tensors? Is it a checkpoint? What is it? Where folders is it going? You need to know that stuff. Now this next section is about downloading Upscalers. There's a couple that I recommend, and they'll be linked in the description. I'm going to show you where they go and what they look like, but I do a lot of testing with these couple that I'm showing you. So this is Hugging Face page, and there's one down here. Where is it? Realistic Rescaler. Ooh, I want to try this. I don't have this one yet, but I'll show you where they go. Stable Diffusion Web UI, Models, ESRGAN folder. Save. And the 8-time NMKD Superscale 150,000G, whatever that means, that goes in there. And this next one was super hard to find. Both of these I found by reading people's prompts, actually. You could see people's prompts in here, what embeddings or lures they use sometimes. And it took me a while to find this one. So I've linked it in the description for you to find it, but it's really good at upscaling faces. Why upscaling is important? Because as you learned in my previous video about how to generate images, the number of steps to generate the image lets the AI take more time to change it from noise to a picture. Too many steps, then you get something undesirable. But just the right amount of steps is great. But if you give some of those steps to an upscaler, you can make it HD. And instead of just taking a regular picture and upscaling the pixels by duplicating or stretching them or whatever, it's actually upscaling while it's generating the picture. So here's the two ones that I just talked about, plus the other one I found that I'm going to try later. That looks fun. But they're in that folder. Now the next section is about installing and setting up VAEs. Long story short, VAEs are about controlling the lighting of your images. I'll do a future video explaining them more. You're going to go to the link that I have in the description for you. You're going to land on this Hugging Face page. So it'll look like this. It says SD-VAE FT MSE Original. You click download it, and it goes in your Stable Diffusion Models VAE. And I already have it there. I'm going to the folder to show you the other one you want. Grapefruit.vae. Links for both will be in the description, obviously. This one you use for realistic models, and this one you use for your anime models. The grapefruit one. Now in this next section of the video, we're going to be changing a bunch of settings in Stable Diffusion. So I'm already in this folder. I type CLS just to clear the screen for me. webui-user.bat. Doesn't matter if you run the vanilla or whatever on this one, because we're going to be closing it after we change all these settings. There is a trick though here. If you watch this, like if you know you're about to be training, you want to see no model xformers proceeding without it, because it changes the memory, and you don't want that when you're training. If you don't see that line, you go, oops, I ran the wrong batch file, and you can cancel it with Control-C. Now, you go over to the Settings tab and hit Show All Pages and hit Control-F. And down in this box that shows up, it might be on the top or over here on the other side if you're in a different browser, but I use Firefox because it's not a freaking memory hog, so it's on the bottom. Type SD space VAE, and I don't have it as an option because I've moved it up here. But if it's down here, it's where you choose your default VAE and the VAE you're going to use for generating. I prefer it up here so I can change it if I'm going to do some of one kind and then try another kind, etc. But I'm going to show you how to put clip skip and SD-VAE up here. Hit Control F again and you type quick settings, all one word, and you see this down there. And there's 3 things in there. The checkpoint, the clip skip, and then the SD-VAE. That's up here at the top, the checkpoint, clip skip, and the SD-VAE. Clip skip is a thing where, how do I explain it really quick without making the video too long? Stable Diffusion takes 12 layers, puts them together to make your image, and you're basically skipping one of those. And I think every model skips one, and each model is different, maybe, not sure. But some of these images have clip skips in them, and you want to try their settings, and you want to try, okay, I'm going to try 2 instead of 3 or whatever. And that's why you need that. Let's go back to settings. We got more stuff to do. File format for images, PNG, you want that. You need to have the full resolution of the picture, and you need to have your prompt generation information in the picture. And it works better for PNGs for me, at least. So I'm going to show you how to set all that up. Images file name pattern. I've changed that so it says the model name followed by the seed with brackets around it. You need the model name, so if you're testing multiple models, you can look at the files to see which model it was, and you need the seed in case you want to reuse that seed. You can just copy it out of the file name. Now this one's a super important one that works together with this one, which is save text information about generation parameters as chunks to PNG files. Chunks. That's going to make it so that, check this out, when I drop in a picture I've generated into the PNG info tab, poop, you got all this, hit send to text to image, you've got the prompt, the negative prompt, sampling method, steps, your upscaler, and my clip skip is all in there. That's what I was talking about earlier, seeing what clip skip someone else used, and if you leave this there, it'll still be 3, and you can like do that. Oh, I want to try 2 now and hit generate. Let's go back to the settings tab. Now that we've saved all that stuff, hit apply settings. Now go to training and make sure you have moved VAE and clip to RAM when training if possible. Saves VRAM. This is your system memory and this is your GPU memory. You want to free up your GPU memory so that you can do more stuff with Stable Diffusion. Scroll down and check the box that says use cross-attention optimizations while training. It's just another memory hack. Hit apply settings, and you can actually close it. And go down to your batch file and hit Control-C, and that's how I like to end it. Hit Y after it says terminate batch job, and hit enter. And now I'm going back into my Stable Diffusion's Web UI folder, and then the textual inversion templates folder. I'm going to delete the one I've been using, so I can show you how easy this is. See the subject filewords.txt? Hit Control-C on that, and then Control-V, and it immediately makes a copy. Hit F2 to rename it. Go to the beginning and type the word custom, underscore, and then go to the end and take the copy off. And make sure there's no spaces and it's a .txt file. Now that you have this copied, open it up, go to the second line, hit Shift Control End, and delete it, and hit Control S to save it, because all you need is this. All the other stuff is gonna waste time. By only having this, you're going to allow the model to train only on that person's face. Now, this section is about installing apps and downloading a couple of repositories. You want IrfanView to be installed. Its icon looks like this. And there's a good example. How you set it as the default for PNGs and JPEGs is you right-click. And if you got Wind Blows 11, you have to hit more or whatever, show them whatever the stupid option they put up here. But then you hit Open With. Choose another app and then highlight that one by clicking it and check the boxes. Always use this app to open PNG files or JPEGs or whatever else you have and hit OK. Why this is super helpful is because you can use the arrow keys to go back and forth between them. If you're looking at your generations and everything and you're like, oh, I want to save this one, hit Control S and you can browse and save it somewhere else. Or if you want to delete it, you just hit delete on your keyboard and it deletes it off the drive. The next one is like your free open source Photoshop clone called GIMP. And I've been using this for years, maybe decades, 900 years of time and space. I can't remember everything. But we're going to be using that in this video to modify a couple files. GPU-Z, which is optional. And I use the sensors tab to look at memory used. I know this particular GPU has 12 gigs of memory, and when I go to run something, I need to make sure I have headroom for the memory to go up and down a little bit. You'll see more on that later. You also want WinRAR. This is my recommended utility for unzipping things. And the reason is because it has hotkeys. If you right-click on something and hit that stupid Windows 11 thing up there, and then you get this menu. If I hit X, it's going to use this option that says extract here and just dump everything where it is. But I can also hit this to make a folder named after the zip file so that I can stay organized without spending a bunch of time. The next ones are a GitHub repository that I made, linked in the descriptor whatsits. And I'm going to go to my copy of all this stuff and delete it so you can see how to do this. Doink! It's gone. I'm going to hit Alt-D, Control-C to copy that path, hit Code, download zip, Control-V to paste the path, Stable Diffusion automatic1111 tools, hit Save, go back. All right, now I'm over here. Right-click this and hit X, and see how it did that? I'm going to delete the zip one, go in here. I'm going to go in here, hit Control-A to select all, hit Control-X to cut, hit up, or it's Alt-Up, hit Control-V to paste, get rid of that folder because I don't need that. There's a few files here, and this one won't work immediately. Oh, it does. If it doesn't, if it says it can't find something, I'll show you how to fix it. Right-click it, hit Edit, and first things first, you need to find where you have bash installed. Open up a new CMD window, and then hit CD / that goes to the root of your drive, and hit dir, that's directory, and then space, / S for all subfolders, and type bash.exe. This is the fastest way to search your whole drive for one file. There we go. Now we've got the folder. I'm going to copy that with Control-C and put it over here. Boink! And then I need to know the path to the GPU stats.h, which is just this, because it's right there. It's a Python file that I wrote with the help of ChatGPT, because I don't know how to write Python, lol. And you just need to replace this part. And so let's see if that works. Command not found. I broke something. All right, well, I fixed it. I don't know why it's being a bugaboo about it, but I found bash installed at another place on my drive right here. So I used that one. And why we want this one is because it's easier to see how much memory you're using out of your GPU. See, I have a 3080 Ti, it's 12 gigs of VRAM. I have 400 in use. And I like to have the temperature of the GPU because this gets up a lot higher, about twice that when I'm training and I know it's working. The only other way is like reach inside your computer and touch your GPU and go, is it hot? Is it getting warm? And you can risk damaging your computer if you got like static on you and stuff. Don't do that. And this other one is for monitoring training to see if its strength is too high or if the loss is too high. More on that later. And you got this other repository you want to grab, which I found by watching a very difficult to watch video. And it's like examples of checking your training. And it's super geeky. I don't get into all that. But you go to code, download zip, and I'm going to copy paste this folder path over here so it goes to the same place. Inspect training.main.zip. Hit enter to open that up. And I only need one file. Inspect embedding training.py. Like that. All right. Now that you've got all the preparation done, you can start doing all the steps to train an embedding, and that's going to be in the next video. When I'm done with it, it's going to be linked in the description, and I'm going to put a thing right here in my end screen right there for you to click and see it, and you can subscribe to the channel right here, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. Bye.